The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? When you get a horror movie director to direct something for a fashion show, what do you expect? Add in an unexpected breast cancer diagnosis and you get the movie Amber and Scott Say Today, Couture, and now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
How do I end up in so many fashion movies?
You are a fashionista.
I am not a fashionista. All you have to do is see the way I dress to know that that is not true.
Okay, that's true. Neither am I. But let's go ahead and dig in. So for those who are just joining us, we are talking about Couture.
I hope they're just joining us. We just started.
It's true. With Angelina Jolie. And it is the story of this filmmaker who appears to make horror movies. And for some reason, I don't quite understand, she was invited to do a fashion-themed horror movie for the start of a fashion show in Paris.
Yeah, like a short little intro type thing. I think she was confused about it as well.
And what makes this even more bizarre, this fashion show, and we don't see this until the very end, for some reason, this fashion show is outside in the dirt and the trees in some sort of forest. So they have on all these white dresses, and the storm, disregarding the storm, even the best of weather, they have these flowy white dresses that they're walking along dirt paths in before they even get to the area where they can be seen for the fashion show. WTF? That is freaking bizarre. What fashion show is basically in the woods?
It's not basically in the woods.
Well, it's in a wooded area. They're walking on literal dirt with these flowy white dresses. So even if it hadn't rained,
I didn't see dirt.
They were walking on dirt.
You can't walk on dirt in high heels.
They were? What do you think they were walking on? A red carpet? Tile?
It was a constructed set.
That's why she had mud on her shoes.
Well,
and
she
her
had mud on her
stockings?
shoes and stuff because it started raining.
Yeah, on the dirt. What do you add water to that makes mud?
It's still outdoors.
Okay. Anyway.
Plus it was really raining, not just things blow.
Anyway, so she is in Paris. She's recently divorced. She has a somewhat strained relationship with her teenage daughter. Maybe that's just because her daughter is a teenager, but
soon to be divorced.
And she is starting to try to get her career on track. She has this opportunity for this movie at this fashion show, and she's trying to earn money, and she has another big movie project coming up. So she's trying to get her life on track as she goes into this next chapter after hopefully getting her divorce going through. And we follow a couple characters through this film. The other one is an 18-year-old model from Kenya, and she is a new fresh face that's going to open the show. And then we also follow the makeup artist, who is an aspiring writer who just got some negative feedback about her book being boring. And we see these storylines intersect of what these three women are going through.
From a movie perspective, I didn't love it. I felt like it did not do a good job of intersecting them very well.
I definitely ended that film and I thought, well, gee, I just kind of lost that hour and a half. It didn't do much for me either.
Like you're dealing with a woman who's learning about breast cancer.
Yes.
That should get you at least somewhat emotional, and it did not in the least.
Yeah, so let's fill in the blanks here for folks if you haven't seen the film. So she's in Paris for this fashion show, and while she's there, she gets a call from her doctor. And she got there late because she left America late for some tests, and the doctor calls her and doesn't tell her anything but creates an emergency of, can you come in today? And she's, no, I'm out of the country. And he says, well, I will find a colleague for you to see. You need to see this colleague. So first, what would you do? What would you do if you're in a foreign country and your doctor is very cryptic that you need to get to the doctor right now?
I can read between the lines.
Yeah, something bad is imminent.
Presumably, she had recently had a mammogram. If your doctor's saying you need to see a doctor right away, like if you've got a clean bill of health, he'd be like, you're fine. So immediately there's problems. And by the way he's talking, it's like you basically know you either have cancer or they highly suspect you do.
Yeah, there's a very different tone to we need to schedule a follow-up. We'll get you on the books in a couple of weeks, other than you need to go to the doctor right now. So she ends up going to this doctor in Paris, finding out that she has some abnormalities and that she ultimately has breast cancer. And what I was wondering throughout this film is Angelina's connection to this film, because I don't know what your knowledge is of Angelina Jolie's backstory, but maybe 10 to 15 years ago, she had a double mastectomy. And she did that because she had an 85% chance of breast cancer because of family history, and also a chance of ovarian cancer, and a preemptive move of diminishing that 85% chance of breast cancer. She had a double mastectomy.
Wait, she had her boobs removed and she didn't even have cancer?
Correct.
That's a little preemptive to me.
But if you have a family history and you have an 85% chance, and this was a huge story at the time because people said the same thing you did, is, wow, you don't have it and you're doing that. But that's how big of a deal it was for her. I think it was her mom and her aunt maybe that had it, and that was just too close to home, and she wanted to lessen those odds, so she did have a double mastectomy. And a couple years later, she had some ovarian tubes removed and some other surgical procedures done to lessen her risk of ovarian cancer.
So you could just go to the doctor and get mammograms every 3 months if you're really worried about it. Like, what? Yes, having your boobs sawed off is
sawed off. They're not wood.
It is a one-time thing, but then you don't have your boobs anymore.
Well, also too, when you're fortunate enough to have money, she did have reconstructive breast surgery, and I don't know if what we saw in the film was actually how she looks, but she's got some perky, nice-looking boobs, but obviously they have been reconstructed.
Yeah, fake ones are easy to make nice and perky. I don't know, man. 85% is still 15% no. And I'm just going in every 3 months. Now, if there is anything that comes up, okay, then you have your boobs sawed off. But, man, I don't know.
This was a part of the conversation when all of this was happening. I think it might have been back in 2010, 2013, something like that. So, yeah, it was a big conversation, and it got a lot of people talking about breast cancer risk. So, as I was watching this, I was wondering how much she was involved in this film, or was she drawn to it because of the topic, or did she have influence on it? Because although different, she does have a personal journey with breast cancer.
I am sure that there are interviews aplenty out there that would probably answer that question.
Yeah. So what would you do? Her name was, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank.
Maxine?
Maxine, thank you. What would you do if you were Maxine, you had this opportunity, you're abroad, and then you get this devastating news that you've got to completely check out of your professional life and get some chemo treatment or you're going to die?
So I think that there is a line between not mentioning at all that you have something and throwing it out to everyone for pity reasons. I think there's a lot of area in there. I would have been like, okay, guys, just so you understand, I had a doctor's appointment. I have just learned that I have breast cancer. That's kind of aggressive. So we're still working. We're still doing everything. But if I appear to be checked out for a moment, it's because I'm coming to terms with this. Like,
Yeah.
just be cool about it. That way everyone knows that why she might be checked out or she might have to be gone. Because what are they going to say? No, you can't go to your oncologist?
Well, and that's what we saw happening with Maxine is she had this opportunity. They were filming, they were editing, and she had this appointment with this specialist in Paris. And she just said, I got to go. I have an errand. And they're like, no, but we're in the middle of filming. She was like, I have to go. And even when she went for follow-ups, again, she just kind of disappeared and left this production on its own. And I think you have a very valid point. And something that comes up a lot in films, probably because it's a good a sticking point in films, is communicate better.
Yes.
It's okay.
People will listen, people are horrible, but people in general will understand things like this. Like, cancer's a thing. Cancer doesn't care who you are, what you are. It can come for any of us. And it's just silly to not have a grown-up conversation with that, especially in a work environment. Now, home environment, different story. You can figure that out for yourself.
Well, work environments can be complicated, though, because if you're in a competitive work environment, they could say, oh, well, if you're not sick, you're going to be sick. We need to get replacements in place. And then pretty soon you find yourself worked out of a job.
But in this case, it was just basically finishing up this shoot they needed for the...
Yes.
So it wasn't a long-term thing.
Correct.
It was easy enough to just tell everyone's on the same page. You finish everything, no big deal. Because the truth is she's working with people she didn't even freaking know. So, like, she's not worried about this long-term relationship thing. It's not like these people are going to go, ooh, this person has breast cancer. Who cares? Like, this is another... When people do that, it's another spotlight effect thing that really gets me, is that most people are mostly concerned with themselves. Maybe a significant other. Or a child. For the most part, they don't care about you. They've got their own shit.
That's true, and that's what we saw in this film with these characters that we were following, is they all had their own stuff. They're showing up for work, they're doing their thing, but Maxine is battling breast cancer. Ada, the 18-year-old model, is there under a false premise, lying to her dad that she's there on some sort of pharmacy school exchange program.
Well, her mom knew.
Yeah, but I'm still saying is everyone has their own story, their own backstory, the things that they're dealing with, and trying to send money back home, and not sure if this modeling thing is for her, but seeing the opportunity with making money. And then the makeup artist who's showing up lovingly and caringly on all of these shows to work with the models, to encourage them to make them look their best. In the meantime, she's not getting paid for things. She's getting told that she can't write. So we all have our backstory. So when you talk about people mostly caring about themselves, it's because every single person's got their own drama going on in their lives.
People have their own drama, and they'll care in the moment, and then that moment will pass and they won't care anymore. So getting in the moment understanding is usually my big thing, again, especially from a professional environment.
So what would you do if you were the makeup artist and you are taking all your stories and putting them into this book? And the book is essentially about you. It's about a makeup artist and the people that she meets. And you pay someone to take a look at your book, and you think the biggest issue is the title. I'm not sure about the title. And the person that is critiquing your book basically says this isn't real, it doesn't believable, it doesn't feel real. And she says, these are real stories. And he says, well, they're boring. Who cares? What do you do when you have this aspiration and someone just takes the wind out of your sails?
And she paid good money for that, probably. And it was the best thing that could have happened to her.
How so?
Do you want to publish crap?
Some people do.
Like
some people just want to say they're published. Some people don't care.
I guess. But if you're that person, you're not spending money on someone critiquing your book. Like, you want to put out something good. And you're right. People can just get published and kind of not care. Trust me, I've been published a couple of times, and someone probably should have critiqued my work. But no. Reality sucks sometimes. It sucks in the moment. But it's best long term. Like, the longer you live in Fantasyland, the worse it's going to be when you have to come out of it. Tell you now, hey, this ain't great.
Yeah.
Deal with it now. And if anything else, it's good because she's obviously having a hard time getting paid and stuff like that. So she can be like, okay, well, I need to put this aside right now because this now maybe is more of a hobby temporarily while I get myself a little bit of money. And then we can come back rather than trying to burn the candle at both ends, working and writing on it.
So what would you do if you were Ada, and I think I'm pronouncing her name correctly, who was our 18-year-old model from Kenya? She is a tall, slender, pretty girl who has been also going to pharmacy school and kind of just fell into this opportunity of modeling, very likely because she is so tall and slender, and isn't still sold on it, but is somewhat allured by the opportunity of making money.
Let me tell you, if there's one thing I have learned over the years, it's that you don't get a lot of opportunities for easy money. You should take advantage of them when you can. She's 18, young, slender, and she can make way more money than someone in her position normally can because she has something that other people don't. I am not saying that she needs to make a career out of it, but it's kind of like the other models say, like, you'll just make enough money you could buy your dad a house as an apology, which that's a whole other thing, but...
And models have somewhat of a shelf life similar to sports figures, sports players. There is a pocket of time there that you are hot and then you are not. So to capitalize on your unique look and your youth at 18, pharmacy school will be there when you're 30.
Yeah, I make the money, save up the money, get it all backed up as much as you can so that you have financial stability, because there is not a lot greater feeling in the world than true financial stability, like I'm good. So get that. And then figure out where you're going from there. So, yeah, no, I agree with you 100% here. Now, again, if she ends up doing it and truly hating it, then quit.
Yeah.
But make the money in the meanwhile. Like, even if she only does a couple of shows, make that money.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So my next what would you do is completely random, not even at all important to the plot of this film, but I just got to ask. So twice we see Maxine in her hotel room, and you hear all the screaming while she's in the hotel room. Ah, 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 all this screaming. And I'm like, what is that? What is going on? And I'm like, is there a carnival outside? What is that? And at the very end scene, we see that there is one of those carnival rides where it has kind of buckety kind of seats, and then it starts spinning, and the buckety seats go out further and further and further as you're going round and round and round, and everyone's screaming on it. What would I do if there was screaming all the time? I would get a new hotel. Oh my gosh, am I having a stroke?
Mulligan.
I would get a new hotel room.
Yes.
Did you not? Were you not just like, what the heck is going on with that hotel room?
For me, things like that don't bother. I just assumed it was someone having sex on the other side.
Maybe if there was like 25 people having sex over there, like a little orgy or something. I guess that would be a big
Paris.
Orgy, mid-sized orgy.
Mid-size? What the size of orgies is?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't sound like 25 would be a little orgy, but I don't know if that's a big orgy.
I guess we'll take comments from the listeners, because I'm not going to do the thing where I ask.
How many people constitutes a big orgy or a medium orgy? How did we end up here?
Okay, screw it. Intern, would you say 25 people is a small, medium, or large-sized orgy?
An orgy of 25 people is generally considered large.
Okay.
I guess we're getting opinion rather than facts on that one.
Yeah, that happened.
I have no idea how the intern's going to answer. That's going to be funny.
So my final, what would you do? What would I do if given the opportunity to see Couture and I didn't see it, hadn't seen it yet? I would spend that time doing something else.
Yeah, there is one other thing I want to discuss.
Okay.
This is going to make me seem naive, probably, on this topic. I understand and respect the fact that modeling is not easy. It, like everything else, is a skill.
Yeah, it has its own set of requirements.
You have to learn.
You have to learn how to walk right.
That said, I don't feel like it is a skill set that has a huge barrier to entry. Like, at least for shows, you could be taught that in a few days. Now, photo shoots are something very different. I've seen, like, watching models in photo shoots is crazy. How they literally can switch poses like every half second. That's probably more. But why are they paid so much? Like, why can they have go buy your house or your dad a house as an apology money?
Because as society, we value pretty things and we value couture. Now, I don't, you don't. There are plenty of people who do, and that is an industry that values the aesthetics that models can bring, because it's not just about the clothing. Granted, they want to sell the clothing, and that's the primary feature, but they need it to be on either beautiful or interesting or provocative looking women. Now, sometimes that's not always traditional beauty at all, but it is a very unique looking person that just takes that dress and makes it pop because of who they are and how they carry themselves.
I guess I just feel like, listen, there's a lot of gorgeous women in the world. There are a lot of them. And I just feel like that you hit a point where you're paying someone so much money for something where they are somewhat replaceable. You basically start making too much and then you get fired from your job because they don't want to pay you that much. Or that's the way I would see it. Like, you're going to pay this person $500,000 to do a show when you could pay this new face $25,000.
I think you have a lack of understanding of how that industry works. It's not that you get paid too much and then you get fired. It's when you have certain names, certain models at your runway shows or your fashion shows, that brings prestige, that brings audience, that brings critic.
If you're doing it strictly for the names,
the models end up being almost as big of a product as the clothing.
I guess, but we had an 18-year-old no-name leading off, so clearly they didn't care that much about that.
Well, because you have to keep the industry new, and she was a fresh face. You can't just, women age out of this industry. You can't just keep who you have. You have to be bringing in new talent all the time.
I'm just saying, someone who does it for $25,000 versus someone who does it for $500,000, the $500,000 person is not giving you 20 times the value.
Well,
like,
I don't, you're making up numbers. But,
I am making up.
but it's like anything, is when someone has an audience, they have appeal, they bring prestige and a certain credibility to a fashion event. Yeah, they do get paid more.
But when they were married, Tom Brady was the bum in the relationship. Giselle, his model wife, made more money than him.
Yeah.
And he made a lot of money.
That is true.
I'm just saying, if I'm working in that industry, I am always on the lookout for people I don't have to pay $500,000 to wear clothes, or whatever that buy your dad a house as an apology money is. Just my 2 cents.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.